Hello and welcome to Katahdin AI. Today, we're going to be talking about 5 real-world ways that we're utilizing AI in our business today. I want to tell you this is not a selling presentation. I'm not selling you anything. I'm just going to give you 5 different AI, tips and strategies that we're using in our workflows right now, and leveraging AI for growth in our business. All right. So, what is our business? One of the businesses that I run, I guess it's my main business, is my piano lesson business. So I'm a jazz pianist. I've been playing for years and years and years. I went to Berkeley, toured, recorded, all of that good stuff, South by Southwest. I teach online. I've been teaching online for over 2 decades now. So bringing in AI has really helped us in that business to be able to manage a large student base with only me and my fiance in the business. All right. First off, the first tip, ChatGPT. We use ChatGPT, and I have to put this one in here because obviously, that's kind of like the low-hanging fruit is to start with ChatGPT. Now, ChatGPT is great. It has really gotten better over the years. I started using it, 2.5, 3 years ago when it first came out. It has improved. You'll notice now that the context, all right, has improved. And context is, the fancy way of saying that it remembers your past chat conversations. So that context has improved over chats. So now it starts to learn and understand more. Some people are a little bit concerned with ChatGPT due to security and governance and all of that. One thing to realize is that even if you have a paid ChatGPT account, if you're pasting stuff into that ChatGPT window, it could be used to train their models, right? Whereas if you use the API, which is just a fancy way of saying using code in the back end to talk to ChatGPT, then they do not use those API requests to train their models. Every one of the tips that I'm going to show you after this first tip, all right, is all utilizing the API for your information. Okay, so ChatGPT is great. The challenge with ChatGPT obviously is that it doesn't remember your prompts, right? So you might need to have like a notepad or a notepad app or a Word doc or something like that to kind of remember all of your chats. I will give you a pro tip. If you have a keyboard shortcut manager, then you can put in like different keyboard shortcuts like tilde 11, or you could have like some letters and numbers or whatever. But the point is that you could use those keyboard shortcuts to then expand all of that text of the prompt. So for you power users, I love to do that because now I can have all of my prompts as keyboard shortcuts, and it makes it a lot easier for me to be able to put them in. All right. So anyway, ChatGPT is a perfectly fine place to get started. But I find that, again, I only use it for like these one-off tasks because anything that I'm going to be continually using AI for, I don't want to have to constantly keep, pasting stuff in, So anyway, ChatGPT. All right, so the second one that we're using is a brand voice creator. Right, so this is where we're starting to teach AI to sound more like us. If you've ever used a ChatGPT, right, and said, write me an email, it does a fantastic job, right? It does a great job at all of that. But a lot of times you'll find that it might not sound like you. So you need to train the AI to sound like you or to sound like somebody that you want to sound like. All right. So let me pause for a second there because sometimes there's like a little moral and ethical dilemma here. But let's say that I want to get into selling golf clubs. Now, I know how to play golf, but I am not a great golfer at all. And in understanding handicaps and all that, that's just not my thing. Right. So I don't know it. I know like enough to be able to like hit the ball and I know where I got to hit it and all of that. And I could play a game. But in terms of like knowing how to sell a golf club, it'd be really difficult for me because I would not know the vernacular that golfers would use. But this is where I could create my Willie Mayette, the golf club seller, brand voice, and then have AI start to make me sound more like I know what I'm talking about when it comes to selling the golf club. Now, that's the moral dilemma. This is where we're still in the Wild West here, right? And then you're going to have some people that are going to be selling things or marketing things that they have no business selling or marketing. And these will be decisions that you're going to have to make for yourself. Let me tell you a way that we're using it to, which I think is ethical, but is also really, really cool. All right. So the first thing is we can create a new brand voice. We have our Katahdin AI brand voice creator, and we put in the name, the description, and then we can paste in emails or documents or whatever, and then a brand voice is created from all of that information. The brand voice is usually what's called a JSON file, JSON, just fancy computer speak, right? But that JSON file is nice because the computer, the AI, knows how to read that very clearly. Plus, also us as humans can read that quite easily as well. All right, so here I have three brand voices, and at the very top you see Frank Kern. Now, Frank Kern is like a copywriter, marketing guy. He's been around for years, and I just like the way he writes. It's like really kind of like no BS, just kind of like writes, just boom, 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 boom. And I've always enjoyed his email writing style. So what I did was I created a Frank Kern email voice. Now, it's not going to be signing off my emails as Frank Kern. It's not going to be sounding exactly like Frank. It's just going to take the broad brushstrokes of how he writes his emails and make it so that my content now kind of filters through his way of writing, and then I can create emails that sound kind of like Frank Kernish, right? So where you can think of how you can use this is, let's say that you have different brands within your main company profile, right? A lot of us do many different things, right? Let's say you have your main job, but then you also work on a board or something, or you volunteer for an organization, right? So those two different types of emails and content are going to be very different from one another, and this is where you could use the brand voice creator. So now here, I realize too small for you to read. Don't worry about trying to read it. All it's basically saying is use this brand voice when writing content, right? Conversational, whatnot, all right? And you can see the key characteristics: engaging, persuasive, informative, signature elements, right? Writing style guidelines. So basically, the brand voice creator creates this nice compact document that then I can paste that in to a chat GPT or whatever AI I'm using to make it so that the content that it's creating sounds more like me or sounds more like the brand I'm trying to create content for. All right. There's also another great thing if you work with several clients, right? If you're an agency and you have several clients that you work with, well, having different brand voices is obviously going to be really important. All right, number three, turning practice into progress. So this is something that we're working on right now with AI. I'm coding it with AI, right? Vibe coding with AI. And I'll tell you, if I had to hand code all of this, it would take me probably like well over a year, whereas this has taken me just a matter of weeks to be able to put all of this together. So um, gamification is really big, right? Gamification kind of brings people in, gets them to stay. So one thing I wanted to do is I wanted to create a practice hub for my piano students. And I wanted to make something that looked really nice. And this is what I started to come up with AI. So first of all, we got our practice dashboard here. And this is great. Got the level, the experience points, the streaks, you got gems, all of that stuff, right? So just great stuff. And some of this stuff I wouldn't even have thought of, but AI thought of some of this stuff, like having the gems in there and the streak, right? I was just thinking level and experience points, stuff like that. But the AI knew enough that, hey, look, you're gamifying something. It's piano practice. Well, here you go. This is probably what you should add in as well. So this is, like I said, a work in progress, but students can go ahead and log their practice, and it just creates a beautiful interface. Now, all of this was created with AI, but with my direction. So I kind of direct the AI, telling it what it is that I wanted to do and how I want it to look. And also being a coder myself, I know how to talk to the AI like coder to coder, right? So I can kind of direct it a little bit more. So I also have badges in here. And this is a great way of, again, keeping those students engaged and making it so that they want to keep coming back again and again and again, right? Like I said, this is still in development, so some of these are sample badges right now. In fact, the system looks even different than this screenshot right here, right? But this could be lots of different things within your website, right? So when you're dealing with your customers or your clients, you might want to have like an assessment form in there. One of my websites, I created an AI assessment form. So I would ask, the student, how long have you been playing? What are you interested in learning, et cetera, et cetera? What kind of learner are you? And it creates a practice plan. This is the kicker. Creates a practice plan based on the lessons within that site, right? And that's like kind of a game changer right there. So imagine you're going to, say you want to learn guitar, you go to a guitar site and great, there's 250 lessons. Like, oh, well, where do I start? What do I do? Well, by utilizing this AI assessment tool that we created for our Jazz Edge site, a student knows exactly what it is that they should be practicing, and it links them directly to that lesson, emails them the practice plan. It's in their dashboard. So again, these are ways in which we're utilizing AI to not just gain new clients and new students and new customers, but to retain them and keep them coming back more and more ingesting our content. All right, so AI powered form insights. So many of us will get email forms back, right? Now, it could be a contact form, but a lot of times there might be a form that's generating or asking for more data. So here's a form. Again, I know it's too small. I'll just read it for you. So this is a form that I send out to students to basically gauge their interest. And I'll say, like, how do you describe your current piano level? What's the biggest goal at the piano right now? How serious are you? How much time per week can you realistically practice? And then what you don't see on this form is I even ask them, like, how much are you willing to pay? And that goes from $0 to like $100 per month. Well, this is great. So now I get the data back, and again, way too small. So here's all this data, right? All out here. It's a lot of data to have to read. And I thought it would be nice to have AI be able to give me a nice paragraph summary so that I know, is this a student that I should be going after? Right? Because what can happen very easily, especially when you're dealing with forms, is you might have 10, maybe 20, maybe 30, 40, 50, 100 form entries come in. Well, now to have all those entries come in, you want to be able to parse out, well, which ones are the ones that I really want to focus on first? And that's what this AI powered form analysis does for me. So now I run it through my AI form analysis. And then this is basically showing, our step-by-step setup in our form analysis of how you can put in different prompts for different forms, and in that way you can change the AI response depending on the form. So here I now get this AI analysis back, and so based on piano intake response, there is a high conversion potential for him to becoming a paying Jazz Edge Academy student. Right. So now that lets me know right there, here's somebody that I need to reach out to. Here's somebody that I need to talk with. And I need to make sure that I get back to this person ASAP. Now, again, I can massage the prompt any way that I want to, so that, the prompt that I had in this is like basically analyze this form and tell me if there's a conversion potential for this student. But now I could also change that AI prompt and say, summarize this form for me. Or what is the biggest challenge that this student has right now? Or, what is the number one thing that you would recommend that I tell this student, to keep them on the site? Really, this is where your imagination can run wild. When you're dealing with prompts, you can change that prompt. And like I said, I like to call it massaging the prompt, right? You can massage that prompt any way that you want, and the AI is going to come up with some very different results depending on the prompt that you put in. All right. But really cool stuff being able to analyze your forms. Number 5, our last tip here, or a last way in which we're utilizing AI is we're making our support system much smarter by bringing in AI, right? Now, our support system is great. We utilize a system called Fluent CRM, right, or Fluent Support. And we really like it. It's a WordPress plugin. It works really well. And one thing that I love about it is that you can kind of tap into code. So our problem here was our support system has limited AI features. So what we came up with as a solution is tapping into AI, utilizing Katahdin AI to the existing support system so that now we can get much more robust AI outputs that we can use in our support tickets. So let's go through an example. All right, so this was a real ticket that a student wrote in. Right, I just changed the name to Bill Mayette, like my alter ego, and but this is the real ticket that came in. Hi, Willie, received your video. Thank you for that. Looked at your site. There's some interesting lessons. Unfortunate because of family matters. Not able to play the piano regularly for the next few months. Around February, I'll see if I'm able to pick up playing again. Thank you for your time. Anyway, kind regards, Bill. All right. All right. So great. Okay. So support ticket. Now, in the support system, there is an AI button. And as you can see, it says ticket summary and customer sentiment. Now, quite frankly, those two things in a support ticket system for me are like, man, like that really doesn't tell me anything. The email is so short anyway that by the time I run it through the AI, yes, it might cut it down half as many words, but I got to run that whole process through AI to do what? To simply give me a summary here of, oh, received the video, reviewed the site, found it interesting, family matters, limit piano playing, plans to maybe resume in February. So I got all of that in the email anyway. So my point is this, that even though I appreciate that they've added in these AI elements into the support system, it really doesn't help me. And if AI is not going to help me, well, then what's the point, right? I mean, I think the whole idea is if I'm going to use this technology, I want it to help me do something. All right, so when you get into the ticket and you start to reply to the ticket, right? And there's a lot on the screen here. You don't have to read all of this. The basic thing to understand here is that you can generate a response with AI in the ticket system, but you're going to put in the prompt. Well, at that point, if I got to write the darn prompt, I could just as easily copy the ticket and run it over to ChatGPT, right? But I want to start to avoid all of the copy, paste, right? Now, the challenge is when you're dealing with AI within apps, many of these apps have their AI baked in already. And you could see that in this Fluent support. So some general prompts, request more information, provide solution, follow up, acknowledge issue, close ticket, right? Well, that's great, but that's not what I want to do at all, right? I want my own prompts in there so that I can manipulate the data how I want to. But unfortunately, and this is what you see a lot of today, you will see companies incorporating AI into their software platforms, but there's nothing that you and I as the individual can do to kind of tweak that AI response. So they came up with, well, this is what we think people are going to need. Request more information, provide solution, follow up. These are the AI responses that that we think that people are going to want. So there you go. But you and I, as the end consumer of these products and of this software, we can't really change that. But yes, we can. So what we did was we created our own AI system that taps into our support system. And really, this could be done with many different types of support systems, not just this Fluent CRM. So here we have a welcome back anytime, write a response to the student's ticket, has the ticket content, and it says, welcome them back to the academy at any time. So now we go into our AI ticket viewer. We choose that AI prompt, right? So generate AI reply. We have the welcome back anytime here. We go ahead and generate. And now, hi, Bill. Thanks for reaching out and letting us know about your current situation. Family matters are always a priority. So please take the time you need to focus on that. We completely understand and support your decision to take a break from playing the piano. Like, oh, awesome, right? Like that's a great email right there. And then I can just simply copy the AI response and then bam, paste that right back into the support system and away we go. All right. So These are just a few different ways in which you can use AI. Right. So I just wanted to just quickly show 5 ways in which we're bringing in AI into our business now. So hopefully this has spurred some ideas. We're still in the kind of the wild, wild west with AI, right? And I know the challenge for a lot of business owners, small and large, is trying to figure out, well, what is the best way to bring AI into our workflows? Now, I have found personally that I have found the best results bringing in AI through our own custom codes, right? So with Katahdin AI, I'm writing code that taps into AI, taps into our systems, and makes it so that we can do things with AI that is custom to our business. Right. Like I said, there's no selling. If any of that sounds interesting to you, go ahead and contact us at Katahdin AI. The website is katahdin.ai. And then with that, thank you all very much for joining me in today's session.